Elsa Anna, how Anna thawed Elsa's frozen heart. A night of sweet, sweet moans. By Money Moves. Elsa looked at her beautiful sister and couldn't help but blush. For the past several weeks, Anna had been sleeping in Elsa's room. What started as sisterly love had become so much more. Ever since her parents had died, Elsa felt lost. Anna had given her hope when there hasn't been any. Elsa felt eternally grateful. Now the two girls sat across from each other eating dinner and enjoying the view. Anna broke the silence and said, "Nice weather that we're having. What don't you think, Elsa?" "I too agree," said Elsa. This made Anna giggle hysterically. "I love it when you giggle," said Elsa. After the two girls had finished their meals, Elsa led Anna to her room where they would spend the night. The second they got through the lock and hinge door, Elsa grabbed Anna and slammed her against the wall ferociously. They could feel the tension, the fire inside themselves. They just needed to reach for it. She pecked at Anna's chest. She slowly made her way down to tease Anna. Anna let out a long, deep, moaning sound that made Elsa excited. Anna added, "Elsa, who knew we would become what we are together?" She interrupted herself with a long, unexpected moan. At this point, neither could help themselves. Both of them indulged in a sweet sex they both longed for. Without return, without regret, they continued to splurge. They made their way to the bed and hopped on. They gradually impulsed in, out, faster and faster. They went until they had both simultaneously reached their climax. They had eventually done various positions, and then suddenly came to a steady rock. They rubbed against each other, cooches grinding, kissed and embraced. They know what their love for each other had become too strong. After they relax and catch their breath, Anna silently says, "Elsa, I didn't know you had that in you." Elsa nodded in agreement. "I didn't know either." She spoke without breath. "No, literally." Anna spoke and held up her hands, showing off the shimmering period blood. Elsa was embarrassed. "I'm so sorry." "No, it's okay. Watch this." Elsa sat and saw Anna lick off the blood and swallow it. Elsa watched intriguingly, yet with horror. Then Anna continued, "Didn't I tell you I was a freak in the sheets?" Elsa's breakfast. Elsa woke up to hear Anna giggling to herself. She couldn't ask Anna why, because all of a sudden, Hans breaks through the window with a group of soldiers and exclaims, "Aha! Anna is deeply in love with her sister. You've been exposed. Arrest them both for incest. I am now the ruler of Arendelle." Elsa and Anna were both arrested and were later ruled to be sent to death by guillotine. At the execution field, with her head in the guillotine, Anna mouthed, "I love you," to Kristoff, because Anna had secretly been cheating on Elsa with Kristoff the entire time. Out of nowhere, a snowball came and hit Hans right in the corner. It was Jack Frost, Elsa's secret boyfriend. She blushed at the sight of his face. He had come to save the day. Confused and bewildered, Hans stopped to the ground and gripped his head. Regaining his consciousness, both Jack Frost and Kristoff lunged to the damsels in distress. Their fingers fiddled around the locks and changed until they were free. Anna ran over to the kneeling Hans and kicked him in the face with all her blazing might. Kristoff held her back in hopes of containing her. She started right up. "Let me at that mother fricker. I'll throat punch that biatch," Elsa added to the commotion. "By order of myself, the queen, I sentence Hans to a painful, gruesome, and merciless whooping by cutting off his penis." Everybody cheered and held him to his containment. The ceremony was held exactly 1 week later. Upon their weight, they used him as a personal sex toy. It came the day that was their destiny, the cutting off of Hans's member. Held still and bound by chains, Hans stood before the people of Arendelle, nude. waiting for the terrible death to come. Anna sighted the stage to the left, Elsa on the right. They simultaneously walked to him with the ice blade that Elsa casually keeps with her at all time. She grabs his dingling, signifying a slow clapping uproar from the cloud before them. Elsa holds up the knight as high as the stars, waits, and down. Hans fainted at the realization that his angst was never coming back. Elsa walks up to the crowd holding the dingling high in the air. She says, "Behold, tomorrow's breakfast," dabbling the demons away. Elsa started the microwave for 1 minute, her breakfast inside. She paused, took a deep breath, and sighed. Too bad they had to haul Hans's body off to the Weaseltown dump yard. She looked towards Anna and smirked. He did supply us with some fun. The microwave beeps. Elsa takes a plate and sits down adjacent to Anna. Anna stops eating out of her bowl and puts down her spoon. She nervously looks to Elsa. Elsa?" She paused and waited for Elsa to look her way, which took a second or two. She was busy chowing down on Hans. "Have you been cheating on me with Jack Frost?" Elsa did not immediately respond. After thinking of an excuse, an added redness to her face, she started up. Well, I'm not an exclusive woman, Anna. I hook up with people when I want to, and how I want to." Her voice gets more comfortable. "You'll understand when you're my age." At this, Anna was mad, so she talked back. "Elsa, you're such a prostitute. You're eating dick right now, literally. I don't want to know how many times you've put your paws on that piece of shaft in the past." Elsa applauded. Couldn't deny what Anna had just explained, so she switched the subject. "And what about you? I've seen you and Kristoff together. I've heard the words you've spoken in the royal bedroom together." Elsa started to mock Anna's tone. "Harder, Kristoff, harder, faster, deeper. Oh, I know what you do for fun. Do not act as if you are an innocent little girl. You are a mean girl, Anna. You are a bitch." Out of complete anger and frustration, Elsa takes the dingling and bites off the tip in Anna's face. "Maybe I love being a hoe." At this, Anna could not believe her eyes. She then knew her destiny. She was not going to let anybody get in the way of love she's longed for such a long time, an incestual relationship with her own beautiful sister. She then realized what she had to do. She had to kill Jack Frost, and it had to be merciless. She had to give him a long and painful death in return for what he's taken from her. Anna added one last remark. "At least I don't swallow." Elsa stood up with rage, leaned over the table and replied, "I do swallow, but when I don't, I put it in your mouth when you're sleeping." She stood straight up, dabbed the sassiest dab of 2016, and exited the royal dining room. Anna was officially roasted. Someone's in the kitchen with Helga. Anna stood up from the table and hit the whip in retaliation. She knew that the Nene was old news. She continued under her breath, "I cannot stand around and wait for the miracle to happen. If I want something done, I need to do it myself, now." With a spark ignited in her eyes, Anna walked to the royal kitchen where Chef Helga cooked. "What's cooking, Helga?" she replied with a short answer in the brawny, manly voice she had. "Royal beans, royal mare meat, and prune cashew stew." Anna did not care about her answer, but instead waited for Helga to direct her attention away from her so she could swipe a butcher's knife without her knowledge recollection of it. Anna stood back turned, gripping the knife behind her back. "Oh, I could just kill for such a feast," Anna sarcastically replied. She exited the kitchen, releasing the nervousness she had while inside. "The most of my worries now is getting to Jack Frost's palace." She ran over to the royal map as she saw it displaying the residency of North Mountain. "Now I know just what to do." She thought up a lie and whispered it. "I'll let it be heard that Elsa ran away and up the mountain again. Once my assistant gets me up the mountain, I'll take it into my own hands to take them back now." She snarled and grinned the meanest of all grins. She ran out of the castle, doors banging behind her. She caused quite a commotion. She spotted Kristoff on the dock. Perfect. She ran down to him. Kristoff, please help." She was gasping for air. Her acting skills were on point. "Anna, what is it?" "It's Elsa. She ran away again. She got angry about our parents, so she stormed off again. Literally." She knew it was all a lie, not to mention it turning out to be one of the worst acting performances of her entire line career, although it still earned her a ride up the North Mountain on her quest to murder Jack Frost. "Hop on," she mentioned towards her sleigh. Anna never loved Kristoff for her love of his penis inside her, what was really what had drawn her to him. To her, he was nothing more than a toy. They rode up the mountain, Kristoff nervous and Anna menacing. They weaved through the whitening pines and gathering snow. They finally reached the top. The wind was blazing and their voices were barely audible. Anna hopped off the sleigh, but Kristoff stayed in. Kristoff then started to yell at Anna. "Where's Elsa? Didn't you say she was here?" Anna giggled an evil giggle. "You thought, bitch." She pushed the sleigh with all of her might, Kristoff still inside, back down the hill and watched him plummet down. He did flips and other injury-prone things. While on his way down, she gave him the finger. On both hands. LOL. He must have fell all the way back down to Arendelle because there was no sign of him afterwards. She continued her rebellious dialogue. "That'll teach you." Sweet revenge. Anna continued to the western peak of North Mountain. She passed Booty Brooks, Fucking Falls, Ho Hills, Pedophile Pond, and Sexy Springs. She eventually reached Jack Frost's very domain. She reached the door and knocked. There was no answer, so she let herself in. There were no guards as there was in her house. She made her way down the ground hall. Her knife stood away in the naughtiest of all places. She had heard a slight creak in a room just down the hall. At that, she whipped up her dress and drew up her knife. She held it at the ready and began to panic. "I'm here to kill some hoes," she addressed. There was no response. "Fight me! Square up!" She heard the noise again, only this time it was perceptible. It had a high-pitched but male voice. It said, "I'm Olaf, and I would laugh that massive cock in my face." It stirred seductively. "Oh, I think that I will." A laugh followed. Bellows started afterwards in accretions of 1 to 2 seconds, but were fascinating. It stopped suddenly and started again, but slowly. "I'm glad you could come over," the deeper voice said. In reply, the other voiced, "Well, my place is not too far out, and I was so excited when I got your call." Anna then knew that this was hookup. She felt a cool draft and shivered, looking up to find it's the origin, the ventilation system, which was unhinged and opened, was right above her head. She could easily go anywhere she wanted if she just hopped up inside. She gripped the painting on the wall, which is a painting entitled "Moaning Lisa" from The Simpsons. She reached up and got into the ventilation shaft and directed herself towards the presumed bedroom. She composed herself once she got there. Had been leftover jizz and fecal waste throughout the ventilation system. She thought she looked over the two who had been going on. She saw Jack Frost and another familiar figure, a little snowman with a carrot nose, or in this case, a giant carrot dildo. Moments had been following. Anna looked over to find Jack Frost backing his fat ass up Olaf's nose. The infuriation inside Anna unleashed. Not only had Jack Frost been with the girl of Anna's dream, but had also been nastily hooking up with Olaf and his big carrot. "It's time to rain on this parade," said Anna menacingly. "Killing these hoes." Anna tentatively watched them, feeling compelled to swoop in right away. She brought her face closer to the vent, but in doing so, accidentally pushed dust through it and onto the lovemakers. She whispered at her misdeed, "Fuck, fuck, fuck." She paused in hopes that they wouldn't realize. After seeing that dirty snowman getting his ass eaten, she knew that they didn't notice her. With sex noises abound, Anna had been failing to unscrew the squeaky bolts to unhinge the ventilation cover. At this rate, she was never going to get them. Anna waited until they went to bed. She watched the sky get darker and them get tired. Their various sex positions were mocking. A little bit of Anna had been wishing she'd been a part of this fun. She saw that they were sleeping. Finally, she busted the ventilation system cover off and dented Olaf's head when it fell in. She jumped down with her dress flared up. Jack jumped up into her pussy, practically eating it. Olaf screamed, "Ah!" Anna returned this. "That's enough for you." She grabbed him by his carrot, erected her leg, breaking the nearby window, and threw him out of it. It was just her and Jack. She continued her dialogue, holding him by his shirt collar. I cannot live with fuckers like you. You will now die by this blade. She shimmered, the edge of her butcher's knife glimmering in the moonlight. Do it, bitch. You won't. I'm transgender. It's not like I was interested in your sister anyways. She was just a piece of ass to me. And if you kill me, you'll be a transphobe. He winked at her. By this, Anna stabbed him in the throat. The lethal bro. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you and your transphobic-looking ass. She turned and heard a slight gargle. There was a white ass poking out of the snow. It was a cute little thing. She grabbed the axe attached to the unconscious snowman. Take me back to Arendelle. My work here is done. He became slightly conscious without hesitation. Olaf the snowman sat on the edge of the mountain with his fat ass in the air, waiting for Anna. But he betrayed her, because Anna was now a transphobe. And Olaf and the rest of Arendelle would not tolerate transphobes like Anna. So he punched her as hard as he could in the pussy, which sent waves of pain from Anna, and she fell off the mountain. As she was falling, she was thinking of her sister and how beautiful her ice cooch was. But this was it. Her transphobic actions have killed her. Hashtag cancel culture. But Anna would cancel herself. After all, this was all her fault. Her sister dabbed and neighed too hard in her face, and she was jealous. So she decided to kill Jack Frost, who knew that he was transgendered. She didn't, but now she was a transphobe. And like all transphobes, she deserved to die. Olaf the snowman was laughing. Haha, that's what you get, you pruny little ginger bitch. And that's how Obama was born. The end.